So all along when we thought maybe Blake wanted the rights, I mean, she might end up being the director, right? But in all utter reality, maybe Colleen Hoover did not want to give up her rights to the second film.
Colleen Hoover spent months meticulously plotting and scheming, dead set on kicking Justin Baldoni to the curb and seizing the rights to her book. And trust me, she was wild about it. She didn't care one bit about ruining Baldoni's reputation. Nothing was going to stop her from taking him down. With Blake Lively by her side, she executed one of Hollywood's most sneaky, underhanded moves, backing Blake's baseless accusations and snatching the project from Justin's hands like it was no big deal. And now, after all that chaos, she's just going to retire? This is pure villain-level genius at its finest. From avoiding responsibility for her son's alleged scandal to secretly conspiring behind Justin's back, Colleen's actions have been downright shocking. But is this really the end of her power trip, or is she just trying to dodge the massive wave of public embarrassment? Buckle up, because things are about to get ugly. Let's rewind to 2019. Long before It Ends With Us became the global sensation it is today, Justin Baldoni saw the magic in Colleen's book and reached out to her directly. They exchanged emails where Justin went on and on about how romantic, tragic, and heartbreaking the story was. Justin was all in before TikTok made the book blow up, and Colleen was eating up every second of the attention. She responded quickly, absolutely thrilled by Justin's genuine enthusiasm for her work. She was so invested in him adapting her book that she even suggested he play Ryle, the male lead himself. Fast forward to casting, and Colleen recommended Blake Lively for the role, since she was apparently a fan, and Justin eagerly agreed. But here's the kicker. Blake wasn't the only one ganging up on Justin. Colleen had already played her hand. Justin Baldoni might come off as the friendly, nice guy, but it's time for him to stop trying to please everyone. Here's where it gets juicy. Everything was smooth sailing between Colleen and Justin until Kelsey and her dragons appeared. Then, out of nowhere, Colleen stabbed Justin in the back. She switched sides completely and started backing Blake Lively, who, by the way, hadn't even read the book before landing the role. Blake didn't even know who Colleen was back then. Yet Colleen decided to defend her, no evidence, no nothing, in the midst of all the madness. And when the backlash came crashing down, Colleen disappeared from social media like she'd never even been involved in the disaster to begin with. But hold on, it gets worse. While Colleen was living it up upstairs with the rest of the cast, Justin and his family were literally locked away in the basement on that nightmare of a day. Betrayal doesn't even come close. Fans have been ripping Colleen apart for throwing Justin under the bus, all in a desperate attempt to boost her own standing in the industry. And now that the whole thing has absolutely blown up, does Colleen have the guts to face any of it? Of course not. She just disappears from Instagram as if it all never even happened. But just wait, there's more. Turns out, Blake wasn't the only one totally out of touch with her promotions. Can you believe it? The woman who claims her book is based on the real-life marriage of her parents actually tried to release an It Ends With Us coloring book. Yep, you heard that right, a coloring book about real-life trauma, emotional wreckage, and heartbreak. Fans were absolutely furious, and she had to yank it down so fast you could barely blink. People started suspecting that Colleen was bitter about selling the rights to her book before it really took off, losing out on a bigger chunk of the profits. And of course, Justin wasn't about to hand those rights back to her after everything that went down. Looking back now, it's painfully obvious this was the moment Colleen started resenting Justin, especially since he was raking in more money than she ever could once the book blew up. But hey, unlike Blake Lively, at least Colleen tried to save some face. She pulled that coloring book from the shelves after fans tore her apart. But let me tell you, that wasn't even the worst of her ongoing drama. Whispers have been spreading like wildfire about Colleen's son allegedly assaulting a 16-year-old girl after meeting her on Snapchat, fully aware that she was still in high school. The teen claims that when she reached out to Colleen for support, instead of stepping up like any responsible adult would, Colleen blocked her. Can you believe that? A woman who writes about abuse and trauma just silenced a victim because it was her own son involved. How does that even make sense in any world? When Colleen was finally confronted, did she take accountability? Nope. Instead, she defended her son, insisting the whole story was twisted, and that the 16-year-old had completely made it up. We talked about it. I apologized to her, thanked her for bringing it up, and offered to give her our home address and lawyer info if she wanted. I made sure to hold my son accountable for sending inappropriate messages, she said. Really? That is how she handled it? That's her idea of owning up to her actions? And here's the real bombshell. This is the same woman who built her entire career on writing about survivors of abuse and trauma. Yet, when it was her turn to do the right thing, she disappeared into thin air. Whether it's the disaster with Justin, her betrayal of Blake Lively, or the jaw-dropping accusations about her son, Colleen Hoover is looking sketchier by the minute. The internet is not holding back on this one. This is way beyond a book adaptation, folks. It's about someone who claims to be the voice for trauma survivors, but consistently makes choices that scream the complete opposite. And don't even get me started on how she ghosted social media the minute things got real. She's come across as someone who can't even face the consequences of her actions or take responsibility for a single thing. Hold on tight, because we're just getting started. Things are about to spiral even further out of control. It ends with us as stuck in a tangled mess of issues, and all fingers are pointing right back at Colleen herself. The receipts are flooding in, and with every moment, they make everything look even worse. Let's break down how Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively allegedly teamed up to snatch the rights from Justin Baldoni and take over the entire project for themselves. It all started when people were completely blindsided by Colleen's sudden actions. Out of nowhere, she stormed onto social media to heap glowing praise on Blake after Justin was accused of allegedly assaulting her on set. But looking back now, it all feels like one huge, calculated fabrication. Colleen called Blake honest, kind, supportive patient, and even thanked her for being a nice human. Seriously? Is she for real? Hold up. Let's pause and really think about this for a second. This is the same Blake Lively who's been accused of running the whole production straight into the ground, all to grab control for herself. The same Blake who, according to behind-the-scenes leaks, was way more obsessed with the movie's aesthetic than staying true to the heart of the book. She allegedly barged in, flexing her Hollywood power, bullying her way into having an entire scene changed, pure and utter chaos. And this is the person Colleen calls a nice human? Yeah, that's sitting real wrong with a lot of people. The narrative Blake's been pushing about Justin, if even a fraction of it were true, there's no way more people wouldn't have come forward by now. Crew members, cast, anyone. But instead, crickets. The reality is, it's Blake who has a long list of accusations trailing her for decades. So here's the deal. Blake has been leading the charge against Justin, and Colleen? She's right there, hanging on to every word. And you know what? Fans are starting to wonder if Colleen's just trying to keep her spot in Hollywood's good graces. Others are starting to think Colleen was frustrated because Justin wasn't making her the kind of money she could have earned if someone like Blake were in control. Whatever the motive, it's looking more and more like Colleen made a massive mistake, and one she might never be able to fix. At this point, Colleen Hoover knows she brought this storm upon herself. You can't just cozy up to the Hollywood elite and expect the public to look the other way. Not when the internet isn't as easy to manipulate anymore. People are starting to see through it all, and Colleen's learning the hard way just how much the public is watching. Think about what happened with Jennifer Lopez and other celebs who thought they could get away with anything, only to have it all blow up in their faces. Oh no, people are waking up, and Colleen is definitely starting to feel the heat. She thought she could pull this off, but it's crystal clear she underestimated how much the public sees through these games. And then, there's this footage that's raising some major red flags, suggesting Colleen was plotting behind Justin's back. During a CNN interview with Blake Lively, when asked about a potential sequel, Blake casually dropped a bombshell, saying she'd be all in if Colleen had the rights. Wait, what? Last time we checked, those rights belonged to Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios. So how is Colleen acting like she had any claim to this whole situation? It all feels just a little too convenient, doesn't it? What exactly were Colleen and Blake whispering about behind closed doors that the rest of the world wasn't privy to? Colleen, sitting there all calm and collected, while Blake drops what can only be described as a diabolical comment about getting the rights back from Justin. Yeah, that's more than a little suspicious, and it felt like a subtle, yet glaring, hint that Colleen might have been in on some shady plot to wrestle control of the movie away from Baldoni. And let's not forget, by this point, Colleen and Blake had already tried every dirty trick in the book to get Justin to hand over the rights. But Justin? He wasn't backing down, and just when you thought it couldn't get any more suspicious, what does Colleen do? She quietly launches her very own production company, Heartbones Entertainment. Oh yeah, it's all starting to make sense now. Then in October, Variety dropped a bombshell. Another Colleen Hoover movie deal was in the works. She and her partner were starting an entire new production company to handle adaptations of her books. Now, why on earth would she do that if she didn't plan on getting those rights back from Justin? Doesn't it feel like there's a whole lot of behind-the-scenes plotting going on? But hold up, here's a major detail we can't ignore. In the very same month, Colleen made a massive legal move, switching to a top-tier law firm that represents A-list stars like Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt. This wasn't some random business decision. Oh no, this was a strategic play. They were clearly gearing up for something huge. Stripping Justin Baldoni of the rights to her book and handing them straight to Colleen's shiny new company. Talk about a move that screams too convenient. Now let's really start connecting the dots. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have more money and clout than most people could ever dream of. If they wanted to get involved in Colleen's business, is it really that hard to believe they could have played a hand in orchestrating a plan to push Justin out? Think about it. If Colleen and Blake were already scheming to get the rights back in August, but Justin still legally owned them. It's pretty clear something shady was happening behind closed doors. And now, here's where things take a seriously sinister turn, folks. Brace yourselves, because we're about to break down why Blake used the harassment claim against Justin. And trust me, it wasn't just some random coincidence. Oh no, this was all part of a calculated strategy, and the evidence is right there, staring us in the face. When Justin first bought the rights to It Ends With Us, a morality clause was embedded in the contract. Not familiar with what a morality clause is? Let me break it down for you. It's a standard element in these kinds of deals. Think of it like how Diddy lost his keys to the city after facing allegations. If someone gets accused of something shady, especially something as serious as sexual assault, the deal is done. And this clause, it was crystal clear. If Justin were ever accused of sexual assault, the rights to the book would automatically revert back to Colleen. And guess who Colleen would hand those rights to? You guessed it, Blake Lively. Can you see where this is going now? Blake's lawsuit against Justin, using that exact clause? Yeah, that wasn't an accident. They were playing this game smart, hitting him with the one accusation that could legally force him out. Once that bombshell dropped, everything else just fell into place. His agency dropped him, the industry turned on him in an instant, and suddenly Colleen and Blake were free to do whatever they wanted with the project. That's right, folks, this was a calculated hit. An underhanded business move disguised as a #MeToo moment. Now it all clicks into place. Colleen Hoover isn't nearly as innocent as she wants everyone to think. Here's one last explosive piece of proof, folks. A whole Reddit thread from someone claiming to be on the It Ends With Us crew. And get this wasn't some random rumor that popped up after the fact. Oh no, this dropped a full 4 months before anyone outside the industry even knew there were any issues on set. Sounds like everything was planned from the very beginning, doesn't it? Now let's really dive into this, and trust me, the details will shock you. Here's the lowdown.
A sequence, like it starts with this.
Oh. I mean, if Colleen has her rights, I'll go anywhere. I'll follow this woman anywhere.
Y'all heard her.
Blake Lively reportedly felt uncomfortable around Justin Baldoni, especially after he allegedly told her she looked sexy in her outfit on set. But hold on, things get even crazier. Justin wasn't happy with the initial cut of It Ends With Us, so he hired his own editing team to fix it. Blake, clearly fuming about this, tried to push for her own editing team to be brought in, but Sony said no way. But instead of backing down, Blake reportedly threatened to go public with accusations of sexual harassment, promising to take her story to the New York Times unless Sony handed her full control of the project. In full-on panic mode, Sony caved, banning Justin from the studio and giving Blake complete creative control. But it didn't go as smoothly as Blake expected. She brought in her own team of editors, including the crew that worked with Taylor Swift on her music videos, while she jetted off to Italy to work on another project. And guess what happened? The film turned into an absolute disaster. Realizing the mess she'd created, Blake had no choice but to bring in a professional editor to salvage the chaos. But hold your horses, because there's more. When Taylor Swift found out that the film's composer was someone she had a rocky history with, she threw down the gauntlet. It's him or me. And surprise, surprise, Sony caved again, firing the composer and adding yet another layer of chaos to this already out-of-control situation. Now let's take a step back and look at the big picture. It's starting to look like this whole fiasco was orchestrated from the very beginning. These players were on a mission to ruin Justin's reputation, all for the sake of greed. If they'd successfully pushed him out, Colleen would have been sitting pretty with her shiny new production company, Heartbones Entertainment, all ready to roll, while Blake would have had total control of the project, shaping it exactly how she wanted. This entire mess reeks of manipulation, power grabs, and pure greed, all disguised as some kind of moral crusade. And let's talk about the timing. Blake files her lawsuit, Colleen rushes to back her up. Then Justin hits back with solid proof, and what does Colleen do? Goes radio silent. But wait, it doesn't end there. Just as things were heating up, Justin's attorney, Brian Friedman, drops a bombshell. He starts talking about subpoenas, hinting that even their private digital messages could be exposed in court. And what happens next? January 22nd rolls around and poof, Colleen's Instagram is gone. Just like that. It's almost like she knew something big was coming down the pipeline and needed to scrub her online presence before anyone could dig into her history. So, what was she really hiding all along? This is no longer just about a book turning into a movie. It's about power, control, and pure greed. Colleen Hoover wasn't satisfied simply watching her book get adapted. She wanted more. More power, more influence, more say over how her story played out on screen. And when the chance to grab that power came, she went for it. The clues are scattered everywhere, and no amount of deleting Instagram posts or covering up can change the fact that this looks more and more like a carefully calculated plan to bring down Justin Baldoni. But just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, The drama just keeps escalating. Right as the tension between Justin, Blake, and Colleen hit a boiling point, guess what happened? Colleen Hoover reportedly announced her retirement. Yes, she's retiring. But before you start cheering, hang tight. There's a twist. Not everyone's ready to jump on the cancel Colleen bandwagon. Rumors are swirling that Colleen Hoover may not be the sweet, innocent figure she's trying to portray. Whispers have begun that Blake Lively might have played a much bigger role in the chaos than anyone realized. Could it be that Blake manipulated Colleen, feeding her stories about how uncomfortable Justin supposedly made her on set? Picture this. Blake, looking all distraught, pulls Colleen aside and says, "Colleen, I don't know what to do. Justin's been making me feel so uncomfortable. But if I say anything, it could ruin everything we've worked for. I know how much this movie means to you. I just want to protect you from the truth." If that's true, Colleen may have thought she was just doing the right thing. But wait, let's take a step back. What if Blake was secretly stirring the pot behind the scenes? What if she was telling other cast members like Brandon Schlembler, Atlas, all these shady stories about Justin, building her own career while positioning herself as the hero? Classic Hollywood manipulation. Get everyone on your side, throw someone else under the bus, and come out as the champion, fighting for what's right. It sounds like this situation is filled with twists and turns that keep escalating. The drama between Colleen Hoover, Justin Baldoni, and Blake Lively is almost like a real-life thriller, with power plays, hidden agendas, and a tangled web of decisions. The timing of everything, Colleen's sudden disappearance from social media, Blake's shifting behavior, and the legal battles, definitely adds a layer of intrigue. It seems like there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than anyone initially realized. If Colleen really is planning to retire, do you think it's an attempt to escape the fallout, or is it part of a bigger move in the long run? The mystery definitely has fans on edge, questioning everyone's true motivations. From Colleen turning on Justin with zero evidence, to those sly, covert moves aimed at snatching his rights, something seriously shady is going down. So, what's your take? Was Colleen just a pawn in Blake's twisted game, or did she have her own devious plans all along? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, so you never miss the next jaw-dropping update and insane twist in this drama, featuring a B-list actress, her two dragons, and a whole lot of betrayal. See you in the next one.